Hello again, everyone. It's just another day in the life as a military wife. And once upon a time, I was a high school senior. And when people asked me what I wanted to do with my life, I'd tell them I'm going to work for the United States State Department and eventually become an ambassador for the United States to another country. And I am so grateful I didn't do that, especially times like this where the U.S. State Department has really made a mess of things. So we're going to talk about that instead of what I wanted to talk about. I'm your host, Sam Wolf, and you're listening to Life of a Military Wife. So, some of you might be wondering, Sam, what are you talking about? I haven't heard anything about the State Department. And maybe you haven't, and that's fine. So let me fill you in. Sudan. The United States has an embassy in Sudan. And on the 23rd of this month, so just a couple days ago, we evacuated all of the people from the embassy, pulled all of the U.S. military presence that we had in Sudan out, and abandoned all of the U.S. citizens that are in Sudan. Now, this is, and I'm pulling this directly from the Department of Defense website. This is their statement. In the coming days, we will continue to work with the State Department to help American citizens who may want to leave Sudan. One of those ways is to potentially make the overland route out of Sudan potentially more viable. So, DoD is at present considering actions that may include using intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities to be able to observe routes and detect threats. However, they have said that they will not be sending in any military assistance to help U.S. citizens leave the country. They also did not give the U.S. citizens enough warning to be able to leave the country before they pulled out. Again. And I'm sitting here going, a little bit of deja vu here. Wait, when did we randomly pull people out so quickly that we left tons of U.S. citizens behind? When may have this happened before with this State Department? Oh, wait, Afghanistan. I'm sorry. I really am sorry, people. Normally I keep the sarcasm to a minimum, but I am all sorts of cranky over this one. I cannot believe it that this strikes again. Like this level of neglect towards U.S. citizen from the State Department, from the federal government strikes again. It's not even been 2 years since the last time we did this to U.S. citizens. By the way, still have U.S. citizens trapped in Afghanistan. We're going to get to that. So that was straight from the DoD website. Oh, yeah, we're going to help them cross through the overland route out of Sudan. You do realize that's a desert, right? And we're approaching summer? Yeah. That's just going to be all sorts of fun. I just know it. But anyway, I'm really frustrated because every time I think that, maybe we're doing things. Yeah. Anyway, so basically, what happened is there's a bunch of civil unrest and violence that's been ongoing in Sudan, and lots of countries have actually been pulling their embassies out. And so it's not just the United States. My issue is that we've left hundreds of like we've left thousands of people there. Now, there is an argument amongst officials on the exact number of U.S. citizens that have been left in the country. Some people say only 500, some say up to 16,000. So here's the issue. 16,000 U.S. citizens live in Sudan. they're claiming that not all 16,000 are in the country, and they don't know how many are in the country because they're not required to register. And a lot of these people are dual citizens, and they wouldn't want to leave the country anyway because they're Sudanese citizens and US citizens. Okay, if there's a war going on and you have a family and you're a US citizen as well as a Sudanese citizen, wouldn't you want to use that US citizenship to get your family out of the war zone? I know I would. That's just me personally. But that just seems logical. So the fact that they're saying that they're not even sure all of these 16,000 want to leave. You know, maybe there's some that don't. I'll give you that. That's a possibility. But I don't think only 500 want to leave. Again, my personal take on it, and I will be honest about that. That's my personal take. But again, if there is hundreds of people left dead in the streets from the fighting, multiple countries, including UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Russia, and at least 6 other countries have announced that by Sunday they would have evacuated all their diplomatic personnel. Germany and Russia and Italy also evacuated all of their residents. So all the Russian and German and Italian citizens were pulled out with their diplomatic personnel. You know, good job. Good job. At least you pulled your people out with you. India, Lebanon, South Korea, and Japan were among nations still working on their evacuation operations. They're still trying to get their people out. Thank you. Japan, you are trying to get your people out with your diplomats. Good on you. Maybe the U.S. State Department will eventually learn how to do that and not leave American citizens behind without protection or any way to safety. The overland route is possible, but it's going to take convoys to get it. They're going to need help from the United Nations because we've now pulled out. It's just so much more complicated. I get you want to pull the diplomats out. I get you want to do that. But you couldn't have given the US citizens a little bit of warning. You couldn't have prepared people. You couldn't have prepped away. You couldn't have. Really? So that's where we're at with Sudan. I'll keep following this. I'll keep trying to let you guys know what goes on, what's going to happen. And my heart goes out. I'm definitely praying for those families that are trapped again behind enemy lines. And that just sends me back to, again, the Senate report that is the most recent one we have from over a year ago. There's no updates on how many U.S. citizens were left in Afghanistan as of a year ago. Again, we have no updates, so I don't know if there's more. 9,000 Americans as of a year ago were still left in Afghanistan. And I've heard absolutely no follow up. I scoured everywhere for any updated information on it. None. The U.S. State Department hasn't even tried to figure out. There's no official numbers that I could find. Maybe there's internal numbers that they're not releasing, but there is no number stating how many of that 9,000 American civilians, American citizens, are left in that country. And that's not including family members of U.S. citizens or U.S. allies who assisted the U.S. military. So this is quite a few people that have been left in Afghanistan for quite a while. There is starvation going on. They've been hunting some of these families. Military service members have stated, and I've covered this in the past, that their family members are in hiding because their names were given to the Taliban by the U.S. State Department. The U.S. State Department handed the Taliban, and I've covered this before, a list of all of the family members of U.S. citizens, including U.S. service members, and all the people who helped the U.S. that we wanted out of the country. And the Taliban has actively stopped them from leaving the country and hunted down and killed many of them because the U.S. State Department handed them the list of names. Just think about that for a second. Yeah. I'm really glad I didn't take that path. I'm not sure I would have enjoyed working for the State Department at this day and age. I just don't think it would have been something that would have worked out very well for me. But it's this is going to make it harder for Americans to feel comfortable traveling. This is going to make it harder for people who have international businesses, who run nonprofit organizations. I guarantee that a good chunk of the people who were in Sudan were from nonprofit organizations. There is a lot of nonprofit organizations that have been in Sudan for decades now, ever since the Civil War, that were helping with food and housing and medicine and all these other infrastructure stuff, trying to help the Sudanese people. And now the they've been left behind by our government. And it's going to make it even harder for aid workers, for people who want to make a difference in these places that are struggling in the future to feel secure and safe being able to go there, for companies and organizations being willing to send their people there. And that's tragic that these places in the world that could definitely use US humanitarian aid and assistance are going to be less likely to get it because these organizations are going to have to now weigh the cost of the potential threat to their people because they can't trust the United States government to assist in evacuating US citizens in case of emergencies. It just blows my mind. So that's where we stand on that. I Again, like I said, I wanted to really cover other things, and I am going to get to them in this podcast, but I felt like that was pressing and important and something that maybe not everyone had been made aware of, and that I'm not really sure what the step is to this, but I definitely feel like if you feel that this is unacceptable for the United States State Department to be doing this, maybe it's time to start contacting our Congress people and our representatives and saying, hey, this isn't cool. As US citizens, we should be able to have confidence that our government is going to watch out for our safety and security, and help us escape situations if it goes south and we're there doing humanitarian work or whatnot. So, and that's my recommendation if you feel so inclined to do so. Um, but more than anything else, my heart and my prayers go out to those families who are trapped yet again in a hostile situation without the aid of the government. So, so going to kind of change, you know, pivot, whatever, switch gears a little bit here. Um, I've been working on a lot of projects. I've been doing a lot of research for you guys on different topics. I've been getting questions and topic suggestions from listeners, as well as I've reached out to some people to do some guest appearances, as well as I've had some people reach out to me. Really excited about these things coming up. But there's two things in particular that I have been diving into and researching. One of them was recommended by a good friend, and I wanted to throw it out because it's made a huge difference, and I don't have the time right now, and I'm still going through it to cover this in depth, but I wanted to share it with you. And it is called The Art of Comforting by Val Walker. And it is fantastic so far. I've, again, not finished reading it, but there's a lot of good stuff in this. So I wanted to give you guys kind of a heads up and do something new. Um, I will be going through, reviewing, and discussing this in a future episode. If you want to pick up the book and read it, and if you have any questions, send them to me. I will try to answer them in that episode, and we can kind of have a little book review, book club sort of thing. So, it is called The Art of Comforting: What to Say and Do for People in Distress by Val Walker. And I got mine off of Amazon. I'll put the link in the description of this episode for you guys. And again, if you're interested in grabbing a copy of the book and reading through it and sending me any questions or thoughts that you want to share, I will probably be coming back to this in about a month. I figured hopefully if I come back to this in about a month, come like the beginning of June, maybe, end of May, that'll give people times to get the copy, read it, and send me their thoughts. And we can discuss it and have a kind of little chat. So that's something new I wanted to do with you guys. Another one that I have discovered, and I discovered two resources in this. I am a massive C.S. Lewis fan. I think he was a very profound thinker and writer. I like his fiction as well as his nonfiction. I've read quite a bit of his nonfiction, and in the last few years, specifically the last 6 years, have made the efforts to read more and more of his nonfiction. And in the process of doing some research on military marriages and stuff for a past episode, I stumbled upon a nonfiction work of his that I had never heard of before, and is called The Four Loves. And not only did I find an amazing book that he wrote in regards to this, I stumbled across an actual recording of his lectures on the topic, including a lot of the stuff he covers in the book. And it is really fun to listen to C.S. Lewis himself talk about these topics. And he breaks love down into four categories: affection, friendship, romantic love, and then charity. And there is particularly one quote in an affection, in the section on affection, that I really wanted to share with you guys. And it was, I honestly, I really enjoyed listening to it. It made me think of these in a different light. And I feel like in other languages, there are a lot of different words to describe love. I know particularly in Japanese, because I've studied Japanese in the past, there are multiple type words for love. Like there's different words for love, whereas we have love is love, and he does use other words like affection, friendship, whatever, charity to explain it as well. But I sometimes feel like the English language is sold a little short in that department. Um, but in it, he states, we can sometimes pinpoint the very day and hour when we fall in love or begin a new friendship. I doubt if we ever catch affection beginning. To become aware of it is to become aware that it has already begun going on for some time. And he talks about that part of what makes affection so different and even charity so different from friendship and romantic love is that they kind of just grow slowly and subtly in the background, and we're not always aware of them. And then he points out in the section about friendship that how we in our modern society sell friendships short. There's so much emphasis on romantic love and stuff that platonic friendships that are not romantic at all with members of the same gender are just um, lessened or just devalued. And anyway, I thought it was really profound. And I've enjoyed reading it. I've enjoyed listening to his lectures. And so if you haven't ever heard of it, I recommend also picking up a copy. I'm going to be coming back to this one as well. So kind of a similar thing. If you're interested, grab a copy, read it. Send me your thoughts. Maybe I'll include them in the episode where I cover this. So that is The Four Loves by C.S. Lewis. And again, it's been a great read. And so that's kind of the topic idea I wanted to share with you guys all today is that I do a lot of these reviews and research and I deep dive into these topics for you. And I thought it might be fun if people are interested to just kind of read along and have more of a discussion when it comes to some of these things. So I will put the links for both of those. Again, I got them both off of Amazon. In the description for this episode, if you are interested in purchasing either of them and reading along, I will be getting to both of them sometime this summer. And as I get closer, I'll let you know so that you can send in questions or comments concerning either of those books. And hopefully we can have a bit of a discussion. So, again, like I said, I'm really excited for the growth we've been seeing with the channel. I love hearing feedback. Again, I'm an extrovert. I do this because I want to share and help and reach out to people, but it kind of feels weird sitting here talking to my computer. So I love having guests on the show, and I love getting feedback and comments and questions from all of you guys. The whole reason I do this is for you. So if there are topics that you care about, that are important to you, that you would like me to delve into and cover, please feel free to let me know. Message me through Facebook or shoot me an email, and I will respond as quickly as I possibly can. As always, you've been listening to Life of a Military Wife, and I am your host, Sam Wolf.